definitely you could reuse different type of material that has been in the building already. So there isn't a specific requirement for new products in a building on general level at least.
We can initiate a process, but then you also need to make sure that what you initiate, people want to follow that.
You need to take that in consideration when you do the design. So you might want a specific house that has specific functionality. I want this huge pool. No, I don't think, well, probably not, but still, I want a number of rooms and I want this functionality. And of course, if you want to do this in a really good way, I would then of course look around and see what's available. And then from that try to design the house. That will be more complicated, definitely.
We come out of a linear industry. Everybody's used to making new products, selling them as cheap as possible. So you actually need to make people aware of what the value is of the existing product, that you don't need necessarily to replace it, but you can use it, transform it, upgrade it, and there lies the value. Because if people don't see the value of this, why should they do it? They say, yeah, well, we can also buy new. It's cheaper, faster.
But I think that approach is probably the one most workable at the moment, at least. That you could, well, let what's available somehow influence your design a bit and reuse that material instead of saying it should look exactly like this. And then, well, nothing matches, so I have to buy it new.
If you do it right, you actually may present a product that has been used maybe for 3 times and people don't even notice it. So if you can upgrade it, remanufacture, or repurpose or whatever, it should be about the value that it has for the user in their use phase. And if they see the quality of it, and also products with a certain patina are also wanted. We have cases where people say, oh, but we like the tactility of steel, we really want to see the surface of steel, please don't paint it, just maybe cover it in a layer of transparent wax or whatever. Okay. So the rough material can also function as an interior design feature.
I think you can use some new materials if you do it in such a way so you lay sort of the foundation for it to be possible to reuse later on.
People need to find out what the value could be for them, and it will lie in the use case. Why are they using it? Do they actually need it? You could consume less and be pleased with less material, but maybe you value products that you just use and not have in your possession. So there's a difference in what you value as a person.
But I mean also if you see the Transformers, if you take that parallel, I mean of course they sort of, well, not push a button, but they decide something and then they just evolve and they become something else. I think that shouldn't really scare us when we do the design. It doesn't have to be push on a button or just unflip this thing and take something out, but being able to take something out without destroying it, even though it might take some work. And also being able to remodel that building in a way. Make sure that the things that are very expensive to take out, well, like staircases, like elevator shafts, like things like that, it's not that easy to move that. Make sure that it is in locations where they won't be a problem, even if you change this office building to, well, a lot of flats or whatever. So think a little before there.
But in buildings, you might think, oh, this is so old, we need to demolish it. But actually in those parts of the buildings, there could be hidden values. And we would like to point out to developers and building owners that there is more value in their building than they think. So in the Gallo-Roman Museum, we are asked to come up with a plan to dismantle the facade and bring it somewhere else. And so we are talking to people and persuading them to buy a nice old yellow facade. And what they see is an old yellow facade. And what I will point out in the presentation is you see one facade, but actually there are two. So how lies the value then? And we need to point out how we can transform this facade into two new ones. And then you have a whole new value proposition. And that's what I want to point out to people. Think of what you have. You are richer than you think.
And it's not only about money.
It's not only about money. It's functionality, quality of living. So yeah, where does your value lie? Think about it.
I think in general we do need to realize that we have to change the perception on our value perceptions and change the value system that we were brought up in. That we have developed the world as we see it, which is beautiful and where the quality of life is extremely improved in the last hundreds of years. So we came so far based on certain value system. This value system was based on developed actually the processes, the industry, everything that we built around to provide this level of quality of life that we have today. But that system was basically based on consumption of resources, taking, making, wasting. It's only like 10 years ago when the climate change really became visible, when we all became aware that we have pollution issues, that the water is not drinkable, and so forth, we realized that that system, our value system that we've been living in through generations already, is failing us. That means that only with a change of value system we have to really envision new world, which will bring us to the livable planet. And that would mean that we have to leave some parts of value system that we still have and live, we have to leave them behind. And that's what we have to do first.